Hey all, Zach Smith, Nashville Realtor, here to take you through another amazing house review. This is going to be a really special one as we go through 909 Manilla Avenue. This is a vintage restoration style home priced just under $1.6 million on the market. This is an amazing property. We're going to take a tour through the home, look at some of the amazing features and awesome design details of this property, and then give it a house score and see how it stacks up against our past reviews. With that, let's get right into the review. As we walk up from the front of the house, you can see this cool little short fence and walkway up to the house. The house looks a little small from here, but that's kind of a benefit. You can't see quite the scale from the side of the house. This is a pretty large house, just over 3,000 square feet in a part of town where that's a lot of square footage. This is in East Nashville, not too far from the pharmacy for those of you that are local. That's a great burger joint, not a medicine pharmacy. But this is a fantastic spot to be in a house. And these houses are often tight, crowded lots. This has a beautiful yard and a beautiful walk up. We do see one slight issue here that you don't see a driveway or garage. And sometimes those are behind the house. But in this case, we are actually sort of standing in a little car park just off the road. And you would park your car right about here and then walk into the house. There is not a garage on the property, which is one of the very few things that this house doesn't have that you might expect at this price point. But again, in this part of town, a garage is not always expected. So moving a little closer, we get our first up close look at the house, and you can start to see this beautiful whitewash over brick, the exposed brick coming through the house with these lovely green accents. And this is going to be a great theme throughout the house. The colored accents with the brick exposed in the house just gives an awesome feel throughout the home. As we walk into the home and get our first look inside, you can see a very cool look back towards the front door. What you see out through the front of the other house is, again, like I said, the car park is pulled off a little bit from the road, and several houses have the same sort of entranceway, and then there's a dispersed parking area and walk up. From here, though, you can see a very cool living room. You get our first look at these beautiful hardwood floors and a taste of the dining room over on the right, the living room over on the left, and the kitchen is just behind us to the right. Taking another look from about the same spot but a different direction, you can see the hallway that leads back to the main residential part of the home. This front space is sort of the entertaining and hosting space, and then the bedrooms and bathrooms mostly are back behind the home. This is a 5-bedroom, 3 1/2 bath property with a great layout for space. It really tucks those bedrooms back and leaves this main hosting space. And this is a really efficient layout to keep a hosting and entertainer's floor plan while still balancing those bedroom sizes, bathroom sizes, and giving you everything you could want. Also from this side, we get to see the brick brought into the home. You can see that a lot of the older accents from the original home have been maintained throughout the restoration. You can see the windows above the door. That's a classic vintage house touch. And you can see some of the detailing around the fireplace, some of the choices around the floor, the molding. Everything seems to have a vintage inspiration, but a modern take and a modern level of sophistication and quality that is really appreciated in a home like this. Again, from about the same spot, you can see the kitchen that I mentioned over on the back right. There's also a kitchen pass-through into the dining room that we saw earlier. This whole space is really interconnected. It's an awesome space that lets you have just enough separation to have different conversations going on if you have a lot of people over, but just enough connection that everyone feels like they're sharing a great time together. And taking a little bit closer look at this living room, you can see a lot of light coming in. These huge windows that go almost from floor to ceiling are beautiful, and they let in a ton of light. This is a great feature to have in such a big open space. Having that natural light come in really helps to sort of open up the space even more and connect it all. A lot of times when you have such big space, it can feel a little dark if you don't have enough natural light coming in. It's very hard to light these big open spaces without natural light pouring in through large windows like this. Taking a look here again inside the living room, back across so you can see the kitchen on the right and the dining room on the left. You get another feel for the scale of these windows letting light in. You can also really enjoy the trim around the windows. This is a nice touch that still retains that vintage feel, but makes everything feel so nice in this home. You can also take a look from here and see that the hardwood changes direction as you go into the different rooms. I think that I like this touch. Sometimes this can be a little jarring. Sometimes it's different hardwoods that don't quite match as they were installed at different times, so they run the panels perpendicular. But here it helps to separate the rooms in this big open space and helps you more easily decorate and style the property to your needs. Moving to the dining room, you see these same beautiful windows letting in a ton of light. This is a pretty standard little dining room with just the features that you need for such a space. You could really adapt this to your style and your needs. If you wanted to set this up in some other way, you could do that just fine. It's a really adaptable space that you can use however you'd like. I also should mention, as a pretty tall person, that higher chandelier over the dining room table is a great feature. I always hit my head on chandeliers, and that one's in the perfect spot that I don't think I would. Looking back out again, I just want to keep giving you a sense of the openness of this home in the front entertaining space. You can see another little fireplace that's a really nice feature to have, and just a beautiful way that the home opens up. You might have seen it a couple times, but the beautiful color that pops through from the kitchen is just an amazing feature that is really nice to be able to see from so many different points of the home. It really gives you a design element to base your styling on. Moving into that lovely kitchen, you can see that this is an awesome space. Everything in here is styled and beautiful. It would be so nice to use, so nice to have, so nice to live in. And it still retains its functionality. This is a kitchen that you could see yourself using easily and having a good time in. A lot of times kitchens that get a little bit too styled or too fit into a theme can really lose some of that functional ability that lets you just settle into a kitchen and cook and spend time in. This one doesn't do that. You still get natural light, you still get a ton of space, you still have this large island that you can work on, plenty of counter space, plenty of storage. This is a really cool kitchen setup and one of the highlights of the home. I should also point out that with this color splash, combined with the cabinets and the handle choices and the finish choices and the large modern hood over the oven, this really does do a great job of bringing in that vintage restoration style combined with modern luxury. This home's listed at $1.6 million right now, and just under $1.6 million. And this is par for the course, maybe even a little bit nicer than you might expect at that price point for much of Nashville. This is an awesome kitchen setup that really is one of the best features of the home. Taking another look back across the kitchen, you can see a little bit more of that island setup and the way that it runs. You can also see that pass through very clearly into the dining room, as well as the open view out into the living room. This is such a cool setup, the way that this layout is done. It really connects all of these different rooms and leaves a ton of great space. One final look at the kitchen so that you can see the island and the way that you might functionally use the space as you go from cabinet to cabinet and counter to counter. This is a really cool layout, and it's really functional. You might notice here and get a feel for that this isn't a huge kitchen. Some of these pictures make it seem really large. I think that's the really tall ceilings and all this light coming in and the open interconnected space. This isn't an oversized kitchen. This is in a part of Nashville where you have to really use every square foot of the house. And I think that's one of the best parts about this kitchen is that the layout, although it's a little bit tight at times, is never too tight for you to functionally use the kitchen. You could have 2, maybe even 3 people working inside this kitchen on the countertops, getting things ready for your big event that you have going on, and you'd still have plenty of room for everybody to use what they need to use and do what they need to do without tripping over each other. This is a very well executed kitchen and a great style. Moving towards the residential part of the house, we get this first long hallway that most of the bedrooms run off of. And it's a pretty nice little feature. You can see the way that they've set it up here with the little old salvaged church pew and the picture wall. You could do a lot with this space. It's one spot where the square footage of the house isn't used extremely effectively. We lose a lot to this hallway, but it's a really cool design feature, and it really helps tie together the layout of the house in a way that feels natural, organic, and comfortable and cozy. So I don't really mind that there's a little bit of square footage lost to this hallway, and you have to get from one room to the other somehow, so why not have it be in this cool little hallway? Moving into the master bedroom, you can see a really cool style and a walkout door to the back patio. This is a really cool setup that lets you really enjoy that vintage style, but have everything clean and set up so that you can design it the way that you want, you can settle in the way that you want, and you can use the space how you want to use it. There's room for a sitting area in the bedroom, there's room for a television area if that's what you want to set up, and there's room for this main bed. There's a lot of light coming into the bedroom, and it's relatively private. If you look out, you can see trees most of the way around. This is a relatively private area of the home, and that's a really nice feature to have in all this natural light. It lets you use that bedroom more comfortably without having to worry about, closing the blinds every night or opening the blinds in the morning, doing anything else. You can just enjoy the room and have it be private, set up away, but still have all that natural light. That's really hard to do in this downtown part of Nashville, and a great thing to have for use in a day-to-day use of the home. Looking back across the bedroom, you can see the entrance to the closet and bathroom just at the entrance to the bedroom. Taking a look inside the master bedroom closet, you can see a lot of space and this cool little ladder setup. I'm not sure how much you need that. It's hard to tell the exact height of the room through the pictures, but it's nice to have, and it's pretty cool looking in the closet. I do worry a little bit, and this is a theme that I see throughout the home, about the amount of storage space. If you have two people trying to fill in this closet, it could get a little tight. I love these built-ins. They're great, and there does look to be a lot of room. But again, this isn't the largest closet I've seen. In this part of Nashville, where every square footage counts, storage can be a common problem, and this seems to really do everything that it can to add that storage back. But I do just want to point out that it could be a little snug depending on your needs. Looking at the master bathroom, we can see this beautiful setup. Again, pulling in that modern luxury finish combined with this vintage restoration style. This is super cool. I really like the two shower heads, the whole little wet area back in the back. This is a really effective use of space and plenty of room. One small thing that I like to mention in master bathroom vanities, and just vanities in bathrooms in general, you don't realize how much you use drawer space in your cabinets until you don't have them. And here, without the drawers in the cabinets, I worry that you could start to see a little bit of clutter build up. I wish that there was some amount of drawer space that was easy access to use every day. But it does look like there's plenty of space under those cabinets, and something that you could find different ways to get around and use the space effectively. Moving into one of the additional bedrooms on the house, you can see this same style carried through. It's a beautiful space that you could set up however you wanted to, and still plenty of light coming in from this large window on the wall. Taking a look at one of the other bathrooms in the home, one of the other full bathrooms in the home, this is a cool little space. It's a little tight in here, but that's all right. Again, this is a part of town where square footage is at a premium, and having things efficiently spaced together in ways that you can use functionally is a great way to really claw back some value into the home in a part of town where that can be hard to do. So this is a really cool setup. It's still styled very, very well and very, very functionally. This is the same bathroom there, just taking a look out across the vanity from a different angle so you can see this double vanity. And here we do bring back drawers for a minute. So that's going to be nice and functional. Here we have a sort of interesting little space. This is off of that bathroom, and that bathroom also connects to another bedroom. You could use this space as a bedroom, as a office, a lot of different things. The door on the left there actually opens into a lock-off mother-in-law suite that can be used as a short-term rental, long-term rental, or anything else. I don't know the specific uses and zoning for the property and what that could specifically be used for, but it's set up to be able to be locked off, and it has an entrance from the outside of the home private to that little side of the property. This is a really cool space though. Natural light coming in, plenty of room, storage closet back in the back. You have that bathroom just off to the right and the bedroom connecting. This is a cool space. Here we have the little closet there. This is a pretty tight little closet, and I do wonder about whoever staged the home that had to stick somebody in the office back in the closet. I hope that that's not where I get stuck when I have to work there. But it shows you that the space is functional, plenty of room to set it up however you need to, and overall, a pretty nice little built-in closet for the room. Moving over to yet another bedroom, we can just see a very cool design style continuing through. This one has a little bit less natural light than some of the others, but you can see that the home's already made up for that with a larger light fixture that really does illuminate the room well. We have another look at a closet in that room. I think it's important to show the closets here because, again, storage in homes in East Nashville is very often at a premium. So taking a look at the storage that's there does give you an idea of how much there is and how you could use it. Moving on to the laundry room here. Again, it shows you more storage, more thought into how you could store things into different places. It's very nice to have the laundry room set up with the sink. Stacked washer and dryer isn't always everyone's favorite, but it looks like it would be functional here. And I do like that you get to reclaim some counter space and some storage space by stacking those. Ultimately, I think a good decision from the home. Moving outside the home, we can look from the back. We'll get to that mother-in-law suite in a moment, but we want to look at the yard space here for a minute. From here, we can see the backyard and a spiral staircase walking up to a little rooftop seating area that we're going to see in a minute. A super cool feature to have. You can also see what looks to be from this picture, a little bit of dirt staining on the patio out back. That's actually exposed brick showing through the patio. I think it's a nice touch. I also like this fireplace here down in the front of the frame. And the garden space. The landscaping has not had time to mature. This is a full renovation that happened recently. And the landscaping hasn't had time to mature, but it's there. And there's plenty of room to add to the garden and yard setup, which again is at a premium in this part of town. Just one other look at the yard space. We're looking back across to where we just were. You can see the fire pit back there way in the distance. This is actually sort of from the front entrance of the home. Then taking a closer look at that back patio area, the main hallway of the house exits through that door you see on the left behind the spiral staircase, and the doors on the right are the doors to the master bedroom. It's a cool little patio space and great for hosting and entertaining if you have people over. Take a closer look. This is mostly to let you see that exposed brick in the concrete. This is a bit of an interesting choice. I don't know if there were bricks down before they put concrete over the bricks, if they put those bricks into the concrete to carry out the design style, or how that really came about. But it's a cool, neat feature to have and to see in the home that really takes some of the styling inside the house to the outside of the house. Moving up to that rooftop seating area, this is a cool little spot. I do a little bit worry about that spiral staircase getting a little annoying over time. It's hard to carry things up and down. And, you know, if you want to bring out a little snack or something with you, it could be a little frustrating to have to deal with that. But ultimately, the reward of getting up to this little rooftop space is very cool. This is a one-level home, and so having a elevated seating space is always a nice touch and always a great thing to have managed to fit into the home. This entrance here is not visible from any of the pictures we've seen so far. This is actually the bedroom to that lock-off mother-in-law suite. Taking another look from a different angle, this is actually, I believe, the visible side from the main road to the house. So you'd pull in down there past the tree that you can see on the left of the frame into the little driveway pull-off area and park to go into the main entrance of the house. And then I assume that this walkway goes out to the street. You can also see a little cellar storage space. Again, storage is at a premium for this house. So having that, anything extra you can get is going to be good. Moving into the mother-in-law suite, you can see that it has everything you need. It's small and tight, but it has a seating area, it has a bed set up, and it has a small galley kitchen. This galley kitchen is set up that you could use if you wanted to live in this space, or if you wanted somebody to live in this space, they could use it. It has everything that you need for a functional long-term stay, however you want to use this space. If you want to have a family member stay here for long-term, if you just want to use it as a guest space, or if you want to use it as a rental, there's a ton of options, and this is a really cool, flexible space. Another look back across the space, you can see the exit into that little office space is the door there at the back of the hallway. And then on the right is going to be the bathroom for this mother-in-law suite. Moving into that bathroom, here's just a quick look at it. It's, again, very nicely styled. It doesn't have quite so much of the luxury finish and attention to detail that the rest of the home does. But again, if you're intending to use the space as a rental or mother-in-law suite or anything else, you don't necessarily need to have that investment in the space. I think it's a good decision to keep everything a little bit more minimal over here. So that's the end of our tour of the home. Let's move into our scoring. Now, for those of you new to the review style, we start with the daily life category. This category of scores ultimately shows how much you're going to enjoy the home every day, just living in the home. This captures the functionality of the home, the layout, the storage space, the amenities of the home, everything that you're going to use day to day and how you're going to experience the home day to day. So we start with the layout category. In layout, this home does a fantastic job. You heard me talk throughout that review about how much I liked the open space at the front with the residential space at the back. Even the backyard layout is really great with that hallway leading out. And then you have a lower seating area. You have the rooftop seating area and plenty of room in the yard to do what you need. Layout is going to get an 8 out of 10 for me. The only way that this house could have gotten a couple more points back, in my opinion, is to have a little bit more functional layout for parking and how the parking comes into the home, moving that driveway inside of a fence or inside of a private area. And then on top of that, a little bit more attention detail for storage. There was a ton of storage, and again, for this part of town, it does a fantastic job. But compared to another home in a lot of other parts of Nashville at this price point, the storage is going to be very limited. So we're going to get an 8 out of 10 for layout. Moving on from layout, we're going to go to utility. Utility captures the functionality of the home, how easy it is to use on a day-to-day, and the little things that'll add up as being small annoyances. Ultimately, this is a pretty average house in the utility department. It's relatively functional, but again, that storage could get in the way. Again, it's fantastic for where it is, but we got to look at the broader scheme of things, and storage is at a premium. Without having a garage space, you also lose some connection of the home to carry in groceries, to have extra storage for the yard. Functionally, this house is great, but I do worry about some of those things. I also worry about that spiral staircase going up to the rooftop patio area. With this being a one-level home, one of the top selling points is that it's one level. Taking that away, even to add a feature that everyone's going to love and otherwise you couldn't have, still I think could be a bit of a drawback. So we're going to go with a 6 out of 10 on utility. Moving into the amenities category. This captures what all's in the home. Does it have, a nice bathroom setup? Does it have a nice kitchen setup, a vent over the stove? Does it have a great laundry room setup? And this house does have everything that you could expect in amenities. We're going to give it an 8 out of 10. The only points that it's missing here are for the really spectacular things that you sometimes see at houses in this upper 1 million price point. You might expect to see, say, a steam shower or a sauna room. You might expect to see some sort of sunroom, sitting room type space. Lots of different things that could come in that are going to be these extra little additional amenities that if you don't have, you won't necessarily ever notice that you don't have, but they're missing, and so we can only give this an 8 out of 10 for amenities. After amenities, we're moving into the quality category. Quality is where this home really shines. This has been an excellent restoration of the home. The styling is amazing, and the way that it all fits together works really well. The only parts of the home that are lacking in quality are the parts that are the vintage items brought back into the design, and those have quality because they're the vintage parts. The hardwood floors might not be as nice as some of the beautiful new hardwoods that are going into homes today, but those hardwoods can't have what these ones do of this vintage style, and that's true throughout lots of parts of the home. I'm going to give this house a 10 out of 10 on quality. I think this is an excellently done restoration and remodel of this home, and something that I really couldn't expect anything more from. Moving from there on to location, I'm going to show you guys exactly where this home is in Nashville real quick. So you can see the home at the red dot towards the upper center of this picture. That's going to be 909 Manilla Avenue. You can see that you're walking distance to several restaurants over to the right and then down to the pharmacy area. Those of you that have been there have seen that there's a few other restaurants that change from time to time around the pharmacy. But walking access to those with a short drive, bike, or maybe a long walk to 5 Points. This is a well-located home. It's very, very well located for a home in East Nashville to get the most for your money and really enjoy the space. Yes, it could be a little bit closer to some of those spaces, but overall, fantastic location for city living. I'm going to give this a 7. So that brings our total daily life score to a 39 out of 50, which is a fantastic daily life score. This home would be very easy to live in day to day with some minor inconveniences that might start to add up over time. But ultimately, you're going to choose to make those sacrifices when you buy this home, and you're going to really enjoy the payoff for everything else that you get. Our second main category of scoring is the fun and occasion category. This captures the way that you're really going to enjoy the home and have the home be an entertaining center point for your lifestyle. First category in fun and occasion is hosting. How easy is it to host in the home? The front open layout section, as well as the diverse backyard layout with that seating area up top, seating area down below, and the yard space, it's going to be a fantastic space to host. The only problem that I really see with hosting, and it's one that might actually start to add up, is that there's not a lot of parking space for people. There's street parking, certainly, but it could get a little tricky, and you might have a little bit of stress from your guests. I also worry about if you start to fill up too many people and have to really pack the spaces together or spread people out in ways that you don't really want. But overall, this is a fantastic hosting space. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Moving past hosting into entertainment, these two can kind of start to feel like they overlap, but entertainment is really about how you and your family are going to enjoy the home day to day, not so much about bringing other people in. And I think that this home has a lot of very cool features. The nice kitchen, the dynamic layouts that are really adaptable to your needs, that awesome backyard, like I've said over and over again. But this doesn't have a lot of the things that we really see in this entertainment category, like a pool or a lot of yard space, multiple acres. It doesn't have a hot tub. It doesn't have a workshop space. So we're only going to be able to give it a 7 out of 10 for entertainment. But missing those things, this is a great space for entertaining you and your family on a day-to-day basis. After that, we have curb appeal. This is a very cool house with great styling. It's a great yard space with plenty of room for landscaping. It's still growing in currently, but it's going to be beautiful in a few years. And the exposed brick and whitewash style on the outside is very, very cool. However, the home is laid out a little bit strangely on the lot, so the most we can give it is an 8 out of 10 for curb appeal. After that, we have adaptability. What does adaptability mean? It means that as your lifestyle needs change and as the ways that you use a space and really enjoy a space change, how can the home adapt to your needs in short term and long term? If you need to adjust for just a couple weeks, or if it's going to be a long-term change in the way that you use the space, how adaptable is the home? This one is very adaptable. The open space setup, combined with the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, the way that they're laid out, gives you a ton of great flexibility. Additionally, that mother-in-law suite comes in to a big role here as your needs change. This is a fantastically adaptable space. We're going to get a 9 out of 10 for adaptability. In our final fun and occasion score, we're going to have design. And obviously, this is one place that this home shines really, really well. This is a very well-designed home. I specifically really love the way that they've incorporated the vintage touches with the modern luxury finishes. This is super cool and something that I really enjoy. However, there's always a point to be had for great landscaping design. And this home, although it has plenty of room for landscaping and it has the beginnings of a landscaping setup planted after the renovation, it does not yet have that great landscaping design. So the most that we can give it here is a 9 out of 10. That brings our total fun and occasion score to 41 out of 50. That's a fantastic fun and occasion score. That's a fantastic fun and occasion score and something that shows how well set up this home is for this part of town, where you're going to have friends over, where it's a part of town that's really about going out, coming back to the home and enjoying a night in or enjoying a weekend in, hosting friends over. The lifestyle suited to East Nashville is really shown here in this home with that great fun and occasion score. So for those of you that have already thought ahead, that brings our total score to 80 out of 100. That's a fantastic score and actually the highest score that we've seen yet. We beat out the Leapers Fork Countryside home with 6 acres and the Party Barn by just 1 point. And we've beaten out the Sylvan Park smaller home by quite a large margin for a city home. And where does that come from? That home was really well done and really made up for the sacrifices you make in a city house. However, this one that we have here makes very, very few sacrifices. It doesn't have to make up for them, even though it does, because this is a all-out home that really has everything that you could want. The main points that we've lost here are a lack of a garage space and just the lack of time for landscaping to settle in. So I do want to mention one thing though. This home has been on the market for a little while. The price has dropped several times. And you might be wondering, well, how is that possible? You just gave this home a great score and it seems like it's priced appropriately at $1.6 million. And that's true. But there's 2 main issues with this home, and I think they're important to point out. My reviews are really about how you are going to enjoy the home as a homeowner, not about how well the home is suited on the market. And those are 2 different things. The first reason why this home hasn't sold at as high of a price as you might have expected or as quickly as you might have expected is that East Nashville is a changing community. A lot more money is coming into East Nashville, creating larger houses like this with a lot more features, a lot more styling. These luxury high-end renovations are happening throughout town. And this house is one of the first ones in the area that it's done. Here's a picture from Google Maps of the street where this is on. The house, you can just see it over there on the right with the tarp and the planks in the yard. This was during the renovation of the home. But you can see the homes across the street are definitely not renovated and a little bit older, a little bit smaller. When you buy this home, you're going to be buying the largest home on the street, the nicest home on the street. And some homeowners are going to be a little nervous about that. Those homes often are harder to sell in slower markets, and that makes them harder to sell in faster markets. So that's the first reason. But I don't want to totally disparage it. If we take a look at the central little parking area that you're going to park at with this home, you can see that there are nice homes around. The one that we've just reviewed is still the largest home and the nicest home of the bunch. But it's not all alone. It's just that changes are coming to this neighborhood that you might be a little bit uncomfortable buying into right at this moment. The second reason that this home has had a little bit of a struggle to sell is that even though the styling is incredible, beautiful, and fantastic, in my opinion, it's not as broadly appealing as sort of a more plain or generic style of home. Ultimately, when you style a home for the market, you're styling it to fit the broadest appeal possible, not in a sense of people loving the home, but in a sense of them being able to imagine stepping in, putting their furniture in, and moving right into the home. This home is set up for a very specific style that is incredible, but oftentimes, as with this case, designer homes can struggle to sell on the market because they're designed for a specific person in mind, and if that person isn't shopping for this home right now, you're going to struggle to sell it. So that explains why this home has sat on the market for a little bit and struggled to sell, but whoever ends up buying this home is going to get a fantastic property at a fantastic price. Again, this is the highest score we've given to a home in this review process, and I expect it will take a long time for it to get beaten. So with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.